Can everybody able to hear me?
Your sound is good, Ayda.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Again, good morning. This is Ayda Basgul Martin. I'll share with you the description, benefits, statistics, and habits of critical thinking, and my experience, how I apply the critical thinking into the human anatomy and physiology classes that I teach face-to-face, hybrid, and online. Who I am and where am I from? I earned my medical doctor degree in Istanbul University, Turkey, Cerrahpaşa Medical Faculty. And afterwards, I did my residency and I became the specialist in anesthesiology and reanimation. And I served my community 20 years as a medical doctor. I am currently working as an instructor at South Louisiana Community College. And this morning I got an email and telling me that I have been recommended by the rank committee as an assistant professor. And where am I from right now? I am in Lafayette. You can see the red color, my city, beautiful city in the Louisiana map. And I have two photos for you that shows 1 out of 11 campuses that my college has. This is Lafayette campuses. Okay, I would like to start with you with a question. And I expect from you and hope from you to, when I read this question, you can give me your answer through chat box. 1 or 2 words is enough. Let's listen. There is a 1-story house where everything is yellow. The walls are yellow. The doors are yellow. Even all the furniture is yellow. The house has yellow beds and yellow couches. What color are the stairs? I'll wait for 20 seconds, and I'm hoping you will able to give me some feedback on the chat box.
Looks like there are a couple of yellows in there.
Yes, let's see. I'll wait a few more minutes. Okay, good, good, good. Thank you for your reply. Even if you didn't reply, I believe you thought what can be the right answer. And thank you to all who participated. I'll share with you the answer of this riddle, but let's keep the suspense a few more minutes to the following slides. Let's start with the description. Critical thinking description is vague terms, and there is many overlapping definitions. But what I like mostly is the objective, purposeful, and self-regulatory analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to understand the connections between ideas and our facts to take informed action based on the evidence and our experience. I know it's a long description, but it composes everything. Then, as Cartoon said, criticism is not the critical thinking. Okay, we described it, but what are the benefits of critical thinking? Critical thinking is beneficial because it fosters the curiosity and love for learning. It helps you to students or anybody practice critical thinking have a better understanding of written subject, a better problem solving, and increase emotional intelligence, increase motivation and engagement, draw appropriate conclusion from whatever the data given. And person practice learns to prioritize what is the useful information and develop strong research skills. And lastly, one of the benefits I liked and put here for you is improve the attention. As shown on the picture on the right, judging is not critical thinking. Okay. Now, according to a study, more than 400 employers rank the critical thinking as the most desirable skill in their new employers. And another study shown the critical thinking demand risen dramatically, 158% in 3 years. When we look at a survey done in 2017, over 1,000 young adults aged between 19 and 30, both current students and recent graduates. Almost 2 of 3 say that critical thinking skills are or will be very important to their future job prospects. But unfortunately, only 36% is thinking that they are well trained in this area in their college. And only 20% think their colleagues are skilled critical thinkers. But don't worry, the good news, critical thinking skills can develop and practice over time. When we look at the simple habits to improve your critical thinking, I watched videos to come up with you the best habits that I can present to you. And I saw many authors agreed upon on those 3 excuse me, habits. First, question your assumption. Try to question all the assumptions. Think of alternatives. Don't be opinionated-minded. Find facts. Search and seek and find facts. Second habit, reasoning through logic. So pay close attention. Ask yourself, is the argument supported at every point by evidence? Can you find more evidence? The third, seeking diverse views. Respecting and seeking different views of the issue at hand and seeking diverse thought is a must and a good habit to improve your critical thinking. Then I looked at what is the traits of critical thinking, and I came across this picture. I love it, and I wanted to share with you. As you see, there's many traits, and many people is giving 9, 5, 6, 8 different number of the traits, but they agree upon the examining, communicating, inquiring, striving, reflecting, and making a link between the items they had learned, they create, they adopt, they collaborate, and examine. Then they are practicing, you can say they are practicing the critical thinking. I will not talk all of them, but I chose for you what I try to apply to my classes, the 5 of them, and top critical thinking skills that I'll briefly talk about it before I share with you my experience. Analysis. The ability to carefully examine the question. So when we give a question to the student, they should able to or required to examine the information, understand what it means, and properly explain to others the implication of that information. So critical thinking tools that help learners to analyze, they should able to asking thoughtful questions, able to do data analysis, their own research, interpretation, and come to a conclusion. Creativity. Critical thinking often involves creativity and innovation. Students should able to use the information they learn, look at what they have in front of them, and find a solution that no one else has thought of before. All of this involves a creative eye that can take a different approach from all other approaches. When we look at the cartoon, I like it, and I wanted to put, yes, being flexible, curious, having imagination, drove the connection, and having vision is important to be creative and to be practicing critical thinking. Now, problem solving requires analyzing a problem, generating and implementing a practical solution and assessing the solution. that cartoon explains because it wasn't clear. Question wasn't clear. Question was saying, write the largest number you can. And he did a big one. So critical thinking tools here to problem solving, we need to be clear. So clarification, attention to detail, decision making, evaluation, and identifying patterns important. Do you remember the question I asked you, the riddle I asked you at the beginning? What was your answer? Is it yellow? Or is one-story house does not need a stair? I asked this riddle to myself, my husband, and my 12 years old. I said yellow too, my husband as well. But my 12 years old argued with me and said, it's yellow because although it's one-story house, but that doesn't mean they don't have stairs. Maybe they have an attic. You didn't give me information. Maybe they have an attic like our house has, and their stairs going to the attic is yellow. So I like it. And I told him, yes, you are thinking creatively. You are thinking critically. I like it. This is a good thinking. Okay. Now, let's talk about open-mindedness. First of all, without any assumption or judgment, we are able to analyze the information that we receive. So students should need to be objective and able to evaluate the ideas without any bias. They should not be arrogant. They should learn and practice the humility. They should be inclusive, objective, observant, and reflection, because our minds work when they are open. And the communication. The students need to share their conclusion with the instructor as well as their classmates. And most of my assignments, especially the discussion assignment that I will discuss with you, requires not only student to instructor feedback, but peer-to-peer feedback too. Because I believe peer-to-peer learning is an important part of the learning process as well. When I evaluate their answer, I mostly look, are they using clear language? Are they express their ideas? And are they able to share the information? Are they able to engage critical thinking by commenting at least one other student's post to communicate effectively to figure out a solution to a complex problem? When I prepared this PowerPoint, I watched many videos and workshops of Dr. Stephen Brookfield. And I agree with him, and he said in one workshop, in becoming a critically reflective teacher, the 4 lenses of critical reflection, students' eyes, colleagues' perception, theory, and personal experience. Now, how we can be a good example. He made a survey and saw that most of the students told the most effective learning the and practicing critical thinking in classes their instructors should be model. They should be a good example, give the feedback to the students. Yes, exploring multiple perspectives in the classroom is crucial to apply critical thinking. When a student asks you a question, it's better to move them to a critical conversation. When your student asks you, excuse me, how or why, maybe we should answer first, what do you think? See what kind of information they know. And when students compare, that means they find some similarities between the 2 different facts, or contrast, when they try to find the differences between them, they make meaningful connections within and beyond the text. So that is important to practice with them in our daily teaching. What most helps your students to think critically and or creativity? One of the things I do, I end my presentations and PowerPoints with unanswered questions that our students need to explore. And one of the example I gave you here, like after the end of the skeletal system PowerPoint, and this is not my question, but I use it. I found this on Google and found online. Osteoporosis is a critical manifestation of an imbalance between bone resorption and bone formation, resulting in weakened bones that easily fracture. How may one design a therapeutic drug targeting specific bone cell types for the treatment of osteoporosis? During the PowerPoint, they already learned that osteoblast and osteoclast, and they should be able to think about their effect. Osteoblast does deposition, osteoclast does the resorption of the bone matrix. And they should come up to know the description of osteoporosis, which I already give them in the question, and make a connection. When they made a research, and they will definitely see many medication in today. There's an effect on osteoclast, inhibiting osteoclast activity, so allows the better bone modeling. That's the one way that I apply in my HMP classes. You may ask trivia questions too. Sometimes I don't want to be so serious. I wanted to ask a trivia question. For example, after discussing with them the eye anatomy and physiology, I asked which eyelid has more lashes, upper eyelid or lower? And when they search, they definitely find, at first it's interests them, and they wonder, they evoke their curiosity when they look. It's a trivia question, but they learn there's 160 eyelashes in upper lids and only 80 on the lower lids. So it helps them, encourage them to learn even more. I like that. The discussion board, that's for me the most important assignment, because that shows me really what students knows. There's no way they can cheat, and how they are focusing to the subject. And for me, their focus and how the student arrived at the solution is more important than the solution itself. Again, when they analyze and evaluate and made a post, they have to post, make a comment. This comment has to be productive, has to giving an information to at least one of other peers, which I think it helps, because even students accepts in their comments, oh, I read your post, I learned it, it's wonderful, I didn't think about it, but I'm glad to read. You did a good job to each other. So that's the one question I put here. I give them, an X-ray here and showing the arrow. And I give them a case study. I said, you are working in a hospital and are presented with an X-ray from a 6-year-old child. Your colleague thinks that there may be a fracture present where the arrow is pointing in the X-ray. What do you think? Do you agree with your colleague? Explain your answer. Use at least 100 words to explain. Apply knowledge and avoid repeating yourself for full credit. And they must then reply to at least one other student's post. However, they will be able to see and read others' posts until they will not be able to see until they post their answer. Here, I am not seeking they will be a good radiologue to see and is a fracture or not, but they should be able to apply, and it might be epiphyseal plate because the patient is 6 years and we don't have enough data given, because we don't know what is the clinical signs. Is he experiencing a pain or not? So maybe there is an epiphyseal plate, maybe there is an epiphyseal plate fracture. So important thing is not what they said, but how they approach to the evaluated this question. That's more important for me. One more thing, can we apply the critical thinking into our assessments and quizzes or exams? Yes, of course. I wanted to give you some examples. Open-ended questions intentionally designed to provoke divergent thinking. Not all questions that I'm asking like that, but at least one or two questions always add to my exams to see and encourage them to learn critical thinking. One of the questions I may give you as example, what are the implications of? You can write anything. Why is important? What is another way to look at? This kind of question you can ask as essay questions, but for multiple choice, I have something as well too, like when forming a bond, an atom that has 5 electrons they need to choose the right answer. Are they losing the 3 electrons from its second shell? That's the answer, but are they able to come to this conclusion? How they can? They need to think, if there's a 5 electron, I need to draw 2 electron shell, and valence shell has only 3. It's better to lose 3 than gain 5. So they need to come to this conclusion by thinking and following the steps of critical thinking. And of course, the students' feedback is very, very important. So in face-to-face classes, I asked at the end of my presentation, I asked them, what's the most difficult concept we learned today? And do you want me to re-explain something? And will be helpful for me to give more information? Maybe I can give in the beginning of the next class. But we know that some students might be shy. So that's why I created class cafe discussion board. And students can go there and ask questions, and another students free to answer those questions. I go time to time and answer as well, but it is mostly for students. They can stop by on the discussion board, they can ask questions, but it has to be related with the class and class schedule, and that's fine. And when I researched and I found out this website is a free backchannelchat.com. So you can easily bring your class into a discussion, no fuss, just write the chat room code on the board or project it on the wall. It can be anonymous chat. So it's again nice to have it. Feel free to try this website. I have no connection with this website, by the way, it's free, but it's good. And you may ask, what was the moment you engaged the most helpful or distancing action? What was it? It's an anonymous survey. I do create some survey through Canvas as well. Our LMS is Canvas. It's easy to create a survey, anonymous survey, not graded, anonymous, and you can go see what your students is thinking about. Creating a crossword puzzle. I like this assignment. And they can choose. They can either go draw by hand. You can see in the right upper corner, and the student draw and write across and down questions, and they need to give me an answers as well. Or they can go find apps, free apps. I don't recommend them to buy it. Free apps, and they can create their own puzzle. This is another web link that I wanted to share with you. It's free. You can go create your own and ask them word mint. When you click that, you will see this page will come when you look your own puzzles. There's different way. I mostly like the crossword, but you can do word scrabble, matching, bingo cards, and word search as well. And for human anatomy and physiology, we know that vocabulary is important because they learn a lot of new words and definitions. There's again 3 different link that you can click and or use it. My PowerPoint is already in the QM website, and you can practice those web links. And why is important? Why I mentioned the vocabulary and vocabulary book. You can create your own and share with your student, or you can ask the students to create their own vocabulary book and either return as an assignment, graded assignment, or just for them. Because when we look at the steps of critical thinking, step 1, remembering. So they need to learn and remember. And then second, they need to understand, able to apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So this is a good assignment. They tell me that they are learning how to spell the words correctly. So it's a good practice. Some other ideas. I'm going to give you 2 answers. That's what I tell the students sometimes. One is what represent, I think, another is pure fiction. And class, what's the answer? And then holds 5 minutes discussion between them. In the face-to-face classes, of course, tell me why is A or B. So it's a good practice. So they evaluate it and see and learn how others think. One more suggestion I can share with you. I sometimes ask my student to rewrite a popular music with using the class information, like cranial nerve. So they start the same music, they change only the lyrics of the music they like to practice cranial nerve or the bones, name of the bones. We have already many YouTube videos. I give an example to them, so they should create their own. The last thing that I like the most are clashing and contradictions. I ask them questions. I say, what is the number of the bones of the human body? And if most of the students tell me 206, then I tell them, I was hoping you will ask me, Dr. Martin, you didn't tell us the age of the human that you are asking, because it changes. If a newborn human being, then there is more than 270, almost 300 bones. But when we are talking about adult, and there is 206. So after when I explain, or another student came up with this question, and all other students says, yes, it's true. Then I ask, so what happened to those bones? And we had 300 bones, and we born with the 300 bones, and at the end, after 25, we have 206. Then we discussed how bones can fuse, and they can become one bone instead of 3 bones as in the hip bone. So that is good to give a good example, them clashing contradictions, a little bit stretch their mind as well. Before completing my presentation, I wanted to share with you a website. This website is kind of fun. I suggest when you have time, please click that link, and it has answer 3 questions. After 3 questions, it tells you what kind of critical thinker you are. So mine was critical crackerjacking. It's kind of fun. That's what I wanted to share with you. Feel free to go take it. It takes only 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. Okay. Thank you. That's all I'm going to share with you today. I want to finish my word with the Socrates words. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. I hope I gave you a little bitty information to think about. And feel free to contact me or email me. My contact info, as I wrote here, ayda.martin@solacc.edu. Thank you for attending. Barbara.
Hi, Ayda. Okay, if you would want to pull up your previous slide, I can type into the chat what
Is it this one?
chat that URL for folks. So so that they can actually copy and paste that.
Sure. Are you able to see it?
I am. I'm just about got that in there. And we do have one question in the Q&A that I wanted to share with you. Cesar Hernandez asks, do you use a rubric in your discussion forums?
Definitely. Definitely, I used, thank you for this question. I think it's very important. I use rubric, but I give feedback. I give detailed feedback. Sometimes I edit a video in my feedback or an article I share with them if they need any help to understand the subject. Does it answers the question, Mr.
Well, he won't be able to do anything but type.
Okay.
So at this point, you could go ahead and stop sharing your screen. I'm going to, once you do that, I'm going to stop the recording.
Sure.
So go ahead and stop that. And then I've got a couple of announcements.
Okay.
Okay, stopping the recording.
Yeah, I think I did.